I'm about to show you how we hit 40K in a single day with our agency. And if you don't already know me, my name is Jared Curry. I built two seven-figure marketing agencies with my business partner, Matt Shields, before I could legally drink. And there are really just three things that agency owners miss. And I'm going to break down the exact process we use to make a ton more per client, hit record months. And guys, once you understand it, it's really going to allow you to collect 75% more per client up front and scale your agency past seven figures. So let's go ahead and skip the fluff. This is going to be a super raw, super advanced video, and I'm going to break everything down on this Google Doc, guys, that I've learned in the past 5 years of actually running an agency, unlike all these gurus who are just selling courses and maybe ran an agency for a couple months. And this is the thing that actually matters, unlike all the other BS that you're seeing on the internet, so that you guys can hit 100K months and stay there consistently. So let's go ahead and dive in. There's three things that you really need to understand when trying to hit 40K days or record days. The first thing is front end versus back end. And what does front end mean? What does back end mean, right? So a front end is basically you run an ad to a stranger and you close that person. That's your front end. Then your back end is you take that person that you just closed and you retain them every single month. That is the front end versus the back end. The problem is most online business, most coaches, most business owners, they prioritize the front end, and I'm guilty of this. I've done this before, and they completely neglect the back end. But the reality is the smartest entrepreneurs, the best entrepreneurs, the wealthiest entrepreneurs realize that the back end is actually the most valuable thing in a business, and the front end is simply here to build the back end. Most people think that the front end is here to build the business, but the back end is really meant to build the business. The front end is meant to build the back end, and thus the back end will build the business. All right, so how do we break this down, right? And the front end is essentially just strong acquisition, setting and closing appointments, right? So the front end has to be cranking, right? In order to make this work, you need all three things working in the formula. As you can see, we did 40K cash, 74 payments, 6 customers. What does that actually mean? That means some of our clients, new clients, only the front end brought in some of the revenue for the 40K. But that also meant that there had to be back end revenue and there had to be clients that retained in order to actually hit this 40K. If we're just closing new clients, we wouldn't have hit 40K. If we're just retaining clients, we wouldn't hit 40K. If we're just upselling, aka back end upsells, then we wouldn't hit 40K. You need all three, which is what I call the trifecta, right? You need the strong front end, aka acquisitions, which is just setting and closing appointments. Joel Kaplan coined this, one of my first mentors ever, an absolute genius. Set and close appointments, right? That's the strong front. Then you need to actually retain the people that you're closing, right? So many agencies are focused on just closing, but they don't look at the thing that actually matters, which is churn. You could be running an agency and closing and have a strong front end and closing 40 clients a month. But if your churn is 20%, that means a client is only going to stay with you for 5 months versus your competitor may only be closing 20 clients a month, but their churn is 10%, meaning a client's going to stay for double the time, 10 months. What does that mean? It means that the agency that is closing literally less than half of what you're closing is going to be doing the same exact revenue if you guys are charging the same. And they're closing half. They're putting significantly less work because we all know it takes a lot of energy. I can promise you, it takes a lot of energy to close 40 clients and takes a huge mental toll as well on your entire team. Versus your competitor is literally closing half, but retaining double, and you guys are both doing $1 million top line in revenue every single year. Who's going to be more profitable, right? And then the last thing is back end upsells, right? So we had months in the state AI where literally our back end produced like 30K in upsells, 20 to 30K in upsells. That's literally more than what most agencies do in total revenue. And we were doing that just in pure upsells. Don't mind me, I'm just looking at my notes, guys. So you need this trifecta effect in order to actually hit these record months. And one of my first mentors, once again, Joel Kaplan taught me this about back and upsells, right? When I joined their program, I was having a lot of success, and then they just upsold me into a higher ticket program, right? And then in regards to retention, so we're gonna upsell them, like, let's say your main program is 6K, and then for us, we had a back and upsell that, let's say it was 15K, right? So it's significantly more expensive. So this is at 15K, this is at 6K. And then let's say you're retaining people. So I like to do a very sticky, low retainer, right? A very high upfront and then a very sticky, low retainer. So let's say I'm charging $6.95 per month, right? So if I'm charging $6.95 per month plus a 6K front end, like let's just say it setup fee, and then after that it's $6.95 a month. Plus, if they're retaining, if they're really liking it, I can upsell them $15,000. If I close a few front end deals, if I have a few retainers coming in, and I also just close one back end sale, it's very easy if you guys do the math to hit 40K in a single month. Right. All right. Next thing that I want to talk to you guys is financing. So one of the biggest things that allowed us to blow up with State AI is the fact that we got our cash up front. So many agencies, so upfront cash versus contracts. The problem with contracts is that sometimes clients don't fulfill on them. And then also, it significantly delays your cash conversion cycle, at least the full cash conversion cycle. Um, Whereas with financing, I can significantly increase the speed of the payment, or decrease the payment frequency, which I want to decrease the payment frequency. If my payment frequency is really high on my customers, that means I'm just not charging them enough in the beginning. If I have to in frequency in the sense of like you're constantly charging that client every single month, 1500, 1500, 1500, that's really cool. That's cool and all, and it brings you a lot of consistency. But if I just collected all that cash up front, I can reinvest into the business, grow a lot faster, and honestly provide a better client experience because I can afford to hire better people. So you need some sort of method to finance people. And once we started financing people, that honestly helped us tremendously, and it helped us reach some of our biggest months, like when we hit 300K. Because when you finance a PIF, they're paying all of that up front. And 30%, guys, of adults right now have an emergency savings account versus a year ago. People are holding on to their money a lot more, and they're going to be a lot less hesitant to actually let go of their cash. So if you can offer some sort of financing, some in-house financing to help people get all of that cash up front, and then that way they also don't have to put any money down, because typically with financing options, people can get started with only like with $0 down, $500 down, maybe even just $1,000 down, but they're paying for the entire thing. And then it's kind of like a loan. So they're breaking up their payments monthly. So their payments might only be $200, $300 a month, but they're getting your entire program, which allows them to get a return on investment faster. And then they're going to be able to invest that money right back into the program, or paying off that financing, right? Financing and getting PIFs are harder than ever before because of the economy that we're in. So if you can offer some sort of in-house financing, that's going to be absolutely game changer for you. And then the last thing that I'll say, guys, this month where we had this record, we closed 40 clients. All right. And this is where most people struggle. They struggle with volume, and they struggle with their cash conversion cycle, and they struggle with their back end and retention. And if you can do all three of these things, where you have volume plus front end cash plus back end, I can assure you 40K days become a piece of cake. So this is all you guys need to do. A lot of people overcomplicate it. But at the end of the day, this is just the trifecta effect. And if you can do all three of these things, your company literally becomes rigged. No one can compete with you, right? Because people are closing because you're offering financing and you're shortening that cash conversion cycle, and they're piffing the whole thing up front. Number two, people are actually staying with you because what they're paying you isn't that expensive, relatively speaking, to other programs, and also what they paid initially, right? Like, honestly, I like going, like, I know some agencies that are killing it and they're charging like $297 a month, and it's just super, super sticky. Their retention is way better because at $297 a month, the level of work that's required to keep a client happy is significantly less than when you're charging a client 2-3K per month. And honestly, you can be way more profitable because you don't need as big of a team, and your fulfillment can become a lot more productized. And then lastly, just having Backend the ability to upsell clients. So for some examples, and I could do a whole nother video if you guys are interested, just let me know. If you're in the school group and you're watching this, comment down below, or if you're on YouTube watching this, comment down below, and I can make a video about Backend upsells. And I can even send over I can even post a video on YouTube about our team actually closing upsells at our agency. But you can do Backend upsells. You could do continuation. That's a big thing we did. So, hey, normally our program is, let's say, 10K for 6 months. Well, I'll let you pivot, and you can get an entire year for just 12K or 15K, right? So they're saving a couple $1,000s. Or you can upsell ISAs, or you can upsell them websites. You can upsell them SEO and different services. You can upsell them coaching, right? That's also something that we upsell. So there's so many different things that you can do. But all in all, guys, you need all three of these things. You need volume, you need financing, and then you need to make sure that your pricing menu is solid, right? You need to make sure that you have strong front-end acquisition, sticky retention, and then a back-end upsell. And if you do all of those things, there's no reason why you guys can't hit 40K days. Yo, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you liked it, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on bell notifications so I can see you in the next one. And last but not least, make sure you guys check out one of these fire videos that the YouTube algorithm just hand selected for you. And guys, if you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis so I can help you scale your agency and take it to new heights like I've done in the past, because I've built 2 7-figure marketing agencies before I could legally drink, go ahead, click down below, fill out an application, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.